cost them $28 million against the cap this year. It can be a tool to just keep the player under team control while you continue to work towards a long-term extension, ultimately finding a way to mitigate that cap hit. We've seen that done millions of times over. Jerry Jones went on record on the team's website and said he wants George Pickens to be a Cowboy for a long time. We know that Jerry does not say things that he does not mean. For whatever you think of Jerry Jones and the messaging, I think that when Jerry puts that out there like that, that means he intends to move forward in that direction. And from Jerry's standpoint, I get it. I think it becomes and maybe I'm not giving George Pickens enough credit. I obviously don't know him. I haven't worked around him in any form or fashion. You know, some people, obviously his dad is somebody who played for the Titans, as a matter of fact, as somebody who had an NFL career and obviously a very long and storied background at Georgia for all the things that he was able to accomplish there. So I don't know what kind of person George Pickens is other than what you read, what you see on TV, and some of the things that you hear going on in the background. But I think he's managed that circumstance pretty well. I think Dallas feels like a good spot for him. If I'm Dak Prescott, I sure as hell want him back coming off a career year, or one of the best years that Dak has ever had in his career. They just need to fortify that defense and give them an opportunity to get stops in some of these games where they've just been moving the ball up and down the field with regularity. Yeah, I think it makes sense for both sides. And it is disappointing for a lot of fan bases who were looking at George Pickens being like, that guy could be mine with all my cap space. Specifically Titans fans who have been talking about it here in Nashville for months at this point in time.
But that's the problem for everybody. And by the way, we looked it up. George Pickens was traded along with the 6th-round pick to the Cowboys. The Steelers received a 3rd and 5th-round pick in exchange. To your point, and this is the dangerous thing, if you are listening to this right now, and what your argument is for why your team is going to turn around is we have cap space. I laugh at that every year because astronomical increases in the cap have become an annual tradition. In fact, the salary cap this year ended up being higher than anyone even expected. What's the first for the second straight year? So what does that mean? That whenever the cap ends up being higher than anyone expected, that means that more money was made, and as a result, teams have more money to spend, which means people don't make it to the open market. In fact, if you look right now on overthecap.com, if you look at the cap space, number one are the Titans with almost $105 million. Number two are the Raiders with $91 million. Two teams that are desperate for wide receiver help, right? But then all of a sudden you look down to the bottom, third least salary cap space before the before the CD and George Pickens moment here. The Cowboys are $30 million over the cap. And they just they're going to franchise George Pickens. It reminds us that all of this stuff is just manageable. Charles Robinson, the NFL who
And down in the fourth quarter, double digits, a rally for the win. What a victory tonight for Golden State. Final score, Warriors 101 and the Suns 97.
Hello there. Welcome into Warriors Live. I am Sam Lubman. I will be your host today. Warriors Live, which is presented by Xfinity, your home court advantage, brought to you by Xfinity. Watch all your favorite teams all in one place. Xfinity. Imagine that, and that was the last time that the Warriors were on a basketball court, beating the Phoenix Suns 101-97 in the shadow of the trade deadline there. And Warriors on a one-game winning streak now after the trade deadline, which saw Jonathan Kuminga and Buddy Hield head to the Atlanta Hawks. And we got sorry there on that one. We got a fun one here tonight. Warriors-Lakers will be the matchup tonight. The Lakers coming in 31-19, fifth in the West, 13-8 at home on a two-game winning streak. Warriors coming in at 28-24, eighth in the West, 3.5 games behind that sixth spot, trying to get out of that play-in box. and 11-15 on the road in a 1-game winning streak. All right, so here we go again. Warriors, Lakers tonight. And I did want to start off with that game on Thursday. A little rallying effort from the bench mob that we saw in that one. Warriors down 14 in the fourth quarter for rallying back to get that win there. And coming off of a trade deadline that was a little deflating. Again, you saw Kuminga go out the door. Saw Buddy Hield go. Another guy who was really liked in that locker room. And no Steph and Curry either. So Warriors had really every excuse there to kind of let that one slip away there against the Suns on Thursday night. But they did not, and the Warriors again rallying there to get the win. No Steph in that one. Draymond being kind of wherever he was at with how, he was kind of dealing with things coming off that trade deadline. It was a very emotional day for the Warriors there on Thursday night, going against a red-hot Suns team that was 16-8 since losing to the Warriors on December 20th. Their last 7 without Devin Booker. No Jalen Green for the Suns, obviously, for most of the year. And the Warriors, again, pulling it out with a lot of the guys who, again, coming off the bench. Guy Santos, big part of that win. And then, of course, Pat Spencer. We'll talk about him in a little bit as well. Pat Spencer signing that official full-time contract earlier today. Warriors announcing that was the official one there. Guy Santos, again, 18 points in that win on Thursday night. DeAnthony Melton adding 17 points. And, of course, Pat Spencer, the headliner, with 20 points in 32 minutes of action. And that was a nice little rallying win there for the Warriors, again, coming out of that trade deadline. And those are the kind of wins that the Warriors are going to, I don't know what the goal is really for the Warriors now the rest of the year. Can they get out of the play-in box? Can they get into that 6th seed and get that week off before the playoffs that they did not have last year? Wins like that are going to be how they get to that level, get out of this play-in box. They're getting those wins when you don't have your stars available. Draymond Green obviously did play on Thursday night, but was largely absent for much of that 14-point rally in the fourth quarter. He came out with about 7 minutes to go in that fourth quarter. Warriors are down 10. The Warriors pull off that entire rally with Draymond on the bench. Draymond came in for the final 30 seconds of that one there. And Steve Kerr on that one, he described that win to feel like it was winning a championship. That's how much the vibes were big after that one. Warriors media contingent reported hearing the celebration of that win from the hallway. So, and I think that just kind of goes into just the amount of emotions that this team has been feeling for the last couple weeks with the trade winds swirling and no one really knowing where they're going to be unless, of course, you're Steph and Curry. Obviously, Steph was never going to be traded. He was always going to be safe. But everybody else was very much on the table there. And I definitely think it showed in the Warriors' play at times throughout the last couple weeks, especially in Draymond Green at times. I think there was times where you could definitely tell. Again, we heard him talk about it on Tuesday night and what sounded like could have been his final game as a Warrior. It was weighing on him too. And so I do think that once the deadline goes past and everyone who is staying put now knows that they're staying put, there's this collective just that you see this team kind of let off there, and you can play a little bit looser. And again, without Steph and Curry, there's always a level of, well, what team are we going to get tonight? Is it going to be a team where, somebody steps up, which is in that case, Pat Spencer was that guy on Thursday night, or is it going to be a team where they just kind of a game where the team just doesn't really have it and they get blown off the court? We got the former on Thursday night, so we'll see what we get against the Lakers tonight. Again, that tip-off will be at 5:30. Warriors pregame will continue with the great Tim Roy coming up at 5 o'clock. Again, I did mention that trade deadline that had happened on Thursday. Warriors, again, the big move they made was on Wednesday night. News broke around 8:30. Jonathan Kuminga, Buddy Hield to Atlanta. Kristaps Porzingis, the man known as the Unicorn, the former New York Knicks draft pick, who's been in the league for 10 years now, if you can believe it. He was what came in return. Kristaps Porzingis, with him, it's about health. That's what it really is with him. When he's on the court, he could be a great ball player. I think he can bring the kind of size and floor spacing from a big that the Warriors have lacked since, let me check my notes here, forever. But it's just they got to get him on the court. That's just what it comes down to. Whether that happens, he has played, I believe, 5 games since December 17th. He has not appeared in more than 22 minutes in any of those games. Will we see him soon? Steve Kerr did talk to the media before this game tonight, and he said that Kristaps will be sitting out tonight's game. He will sit out Monday night's game against the Grizzlies in Memphis, and he will sit out the final game of the pre-All-Star break slot portion of the schedule on Wednesday against the Spurs. That is a home game. So you will not be seeing Kristaps Porzingis in a Warrior uniform on the court until it's looking like the 22nd or whenever it is that first game is after the All-Star break. My guy Cam Williams in the back giving me the nod there that the 22nd is the first game the Warriors play after the All-Star break, hoping that's actually accurate. Shout out to Cam Williams behind the glass tonight, pressing all the buttons, keeping us on air, as he always does here as our Warriors network coordinator. The other interesting injury or injury of interest, I should say, that Steve Kerr brought up was Stephen Curry dealing with his runner's knee. Kerr did not rule him out for Monday night in Memphis, but it also sounds like he will not play in Memphis. Steph, also a candidate to return after the All-Star break. Steph, again, is one of the starters in that All-Star game. So as of right now, he is still slated to appear in the All-Star game. Whether or not that will actually happen or not, I guess, remains to be seen. Obviously, if Steph plays on Monday or Wednesday against the Spurs, that answers that question there, that he will be playing. But it seems like the Warriors are taking it day by day. And again, as long as you could get contributions like you did on Thursday night from the Guy Santoses, from the DeAnthony Meltons, from the Pat Spencers, you can kind of, take it a little bit more day by day with Steph and make sure that he is right before you bring him back for what will be the final, let's see, we are looking at, the final 30 games of the season here starting tonight. So we'll have 27 of these bad boys when we come back from the All-Star break. Want to have Steph as fresh for those games as possible. So Warriors kind of, again, not ruling out Steph for Monday night, but also not ruling out the possibility that Steph does not return to the court until after the All-Star break. We do have a basketball game tonight, though. That is why I'm here hosting Warriors live here before this game. Warriors-Lakers again tipping off at 5:30. And this is the second time the Warriors and the Lakers have faced each other so far this season. Last time these two teams faced off, you had to go all the way back to opening night the last time these two teams saw each other. And my goodness, was this a very, very different looking Warriors team. I can bring up the box score here in my notes here. Did not have that ready to go, but I'll get to that in a second. But you do look at the last time these two teams played each other. This is how different these teams were. Jonathan Kuminga was in the starting lineup. That's right. That's how far back we have to go. Jonathan Kuminga was not just playing basketball for the Warriors on the court. He was starting for the Warriors on the court. And he dropped 17 that night in 32 minutes of play, just a tick under 33 minutes of play. Jimmy Butler led the Warriors with 31 points scoring that night. Stephen Curry dropped 23 on 3 of 9 shooting from beyond the arc. And Buddy Hield had a 17 points off the bench to lead the bench mob for the Warriors there. What do all four of those names have in common? None of them are going to be on the court for the Warriors tonight. So a very, very different looking team we are seeing this evening against the Lakers. And so the Warriors are going to have to find an incredibly new way, a totally new way to beat the Lakers in this matchup tonight. Again, getting 31 from Jimmy, 17 from JK, 23 from Steph in that one. Luka Doncic played in that one. LeBron James did not. It's going to be the opposite tonight. Luka is out with a hamstring injury. LeBron James will be playing again. He was dealing with sciatica, LeBron James, back then. That seems to be going around the league a lot this year. Cam, LeBron dealing with sciatica, Seth Curry dealing with sciatica, all these guys over the age of 35 dealing with sciatica. It's almost like it's really hard to play this game when you're, over the age of 35 and eligible to run for president. But that was what LeBron James, again, at 41 years young, was dealing with on opening night. Austin Reeves dropped 26 points for the Lakers, but it was the Luka Doncic show in that one. Luka, 43 points, 12 rebounds, 9 assists for the Lakers that night. And Luka, he is having an incredible year. He was the leading vote getter in the All-Star game. He has been everything that the Lakers were hoping for when the Mavericks decided to gift him to the Lakers. a little over a year ago this week. It was, I believe, February 3rd of last year, I believe, was when that trade actually went down late at night there for that one. So Luka, again, continuing to lead the Lakers very well this year, averaging 33.3 points per game. He is having one of the best seasons of his career when he is on the court. He's only played in 33 games, though, for the Lakers. So he's been battling with some injuries himself. Again, he will not be playing tonight. But again, 33 points a game, 7.5 rebounds per game, 8.5 assists per game. He has been everything that he usually has been in his career. So that will, again, he will not be on the court tonight. LeBron James will be. Steph not playing tonight. No Jimmy Butler, obviously. And this is definitely what the NBA was envisioning when they scheduled this game on a Saturday night in Los Angeles, the night before the Super Bowl. And I was talking with Cam before we started doing the show. I'm surprised they're playing this game in LA. Cam, I really feel like the NBA should be trying to latch on to whatever the NFL is doing this week. I mean, the NBA is already overshadowing the NFL this week with what they're doing with the trade deadline. I mean, all week long, it seemed like, at least with our station, I'm sure like the Seattle and New England radio stations, they were maybe a little bit more focused on the Super Bowl that's happening tomorrow. But, it seemed like everyone else, it was all NBA trade deadline talk. And the NBA obviously doing that on purpose to try and overshadow Super Bowl week. And when you have a Super Bowl matchup that's kind of lacking in some star power, so to speak, it becomes very easy to talk about the craziness that was the NBA trade deadline. And it completely took over the week. But if you're going to really kind of do that, NBA should just kind of go all in here. And this game, instead of being played at Crypto.com Arena or Staples Arena or Staples Center, whichever you want to call it, if you're someone who, like me, gets anal about arena names, it should have been played here at Chase Center. Like that, there's so many famous people and celebrities walking around. Like, why not? It just seemed like it would make sense to have this game being played here in the Bay Area. So then all those famous people go to the game the night before. I believe the Warriors and Thunder played each other the night before Super Bowl 50 10 years ago. It just seems like a great way for the NBA to kind of keep, riding the NFL's coattails and maybe, again, continue to take away some of that buzz that the NFL's been generating these last 2 weeks with the Super Bowl. But alas, the game will be played in Los Angeles tonight. But again, of course, with all the big names that are going to be absent of this one, maybe it's better that this isn't the night before, because all these big celebrities would probably bail on this game, seeing that Steph and Luka are not playing. Though LeBron James still a draw, even at age 41. Because we always say this every time the Warriors play LeBron. We do not know how many of these LeBron-Steph matchups we have left. And, of course, we're not going to see Steph on the court tonight, as I've mentioned several times already in this Warriors Live pregame show. But you don't know how many times you're going to see LeBron on the court. I mean, he said that it was very possible that this last trip to Cleveland could be his last one that he took a few weeks ago. Now, of course, I call cap on that. If there's anyone who's going to have a year-long retirement party that's announced well before the season starts, it will be LeBron James. So my guess is he will be back next year. I don't think that's any question. You will know well in advance when LeBron James is going to retire. He is not going to just announce a retirement after a season concludes. He's going to want that full send-off there. So, but again, that means you got, this one tonight, 2 more the rest of the year. I don't know where LeBron's going to go next year. So you might have, 3 more this year, 4 next year. You might have 3 more this year, 1 or 2 next year. Who really knows? But we are getting into, I would say there's single-digit games left between the Warriors and LeBron James, unless, of course, LeBron comes here, but cross that bridge if we get to it. Again, this is Warriors Live, presented by Xfinity, your home court advantage, brought to you by Xfinity. Watch all your favorite teams all in one place. Xfinity, imagine that. I am Sam Lubman. I am going to be your Warriors pre- and post-game host tonight, giving Mark Grandy and Evan Giddings a much-deserved evening off. They have been busting it all week long for their show, so, happy to cover for them for a night here. Now, I start off this show talking about the Warriors' win over the Phoenix Suns. Again, a 101-97 win there, and they were led by one Pat Spencer, dropped 20 points in 32 minutes of action in that one. And that was a notable game because that was the 50th game of the year in which Pat Spencer was active for the Warriors. And that is notable because being a two-way player, you only are able to be active for 50 games per season. So the Warriors hit that level on Thursday night, and they had to make a decision. Either Pat Spencer's not going to play the rest of the year, or they got to sign him to a full-time contract. It was not a very hard decision to make. Pat Spencer very much earning that full-time contract. The Warriors making it official today. Again, after a career-high 20 points, made a career-high 6 3-pointers in that win at Phoenix. He's started 4 games this year. He's scored double figures in each of those games, averaging 14 points per game in his 4 starts, 49% field goal percentage, 54% from 3, shooting 4 from 4 from the free throw line, so you could be getting the line a little bit more. 5 rebounds, 5.5 assists, and 1.4 steals, and 30.2 minutes per game in those starts. Pat Spencer will be curious to see if he is in the starting lineup tonight. The starting lineups have not been announced yet. They will be coming out very shortly, though, so if they do come out while we are on, I will let you know what those look like. But yeah, very much. First off, congratulations to Pat Spencer. Very well earned. He has been that MFer for the Warriors at times this year. Of course, referring to the run he had in December, he had 5 straight double-digit point scoring games for the Warriors during that time, and that prompted Steve Kerr to again anoint Pat as that MFer, as I mentioned.
Spencer.
Exactly, that is the name right there that we are talking about. And very much well-earned, and great to see Pat get this contract, get locked in there. But now you start to wonder, what is his role going to look like the rest of the year? Because he's going to be, I assume, involved a lot more because, again, you see Buddy Hield and Jonathan Kuminga go. The Warriors need bodies right now. Steve Kerr played 9 guys on Thursday night. My guess is he'll have a similarly small rotation this evening as well. Until Steph comes back, until Kristaps gets healthy. Curious to see if that actually does happen this year. Hopefully we get him back on the court after the All-Star break. But that's the question. Does Pat Spencer, is he a starter? Is he coming off the bench? My guess, again, as we kind of keep going forward here, and once we have the full rotations ready to go, is Pat will be coming off the bench. I don't think he's obviously not going to be starting over Steph Curry. And I do like the notion of starting Steph with the Anthony Melton or Steph with Brandon Bajemski. And so Pat Spencer would most likely be that first point guard off the bench there for the Warriors. But so bench guy, 20 minutes a night, energy guy. That's what I want to see from Pat Spencer the rest of the way. And how consistent can he be with these performances? Because that's the thing with Pat Spencer. You'll see him go on 1 or 2 games where he's just absolutely unreal. He's just, the energy he shows, the drives to the hoop, the activity on defense. There are so many things he could do well on any given night. But at the same time, there's a reason why he is a 29-year-old fringe NBA player. And it's just, there's other nights where he's just completely absent on the floor. And so getting more consistent performances from Pat Spencer down the stretch, that is going to be a big key for the Warriors if they are going to have any semblance of success this season the rest of the way. And again, the Warriors showing their faith in Pat Spencer by giving him this contract. So I expect him to be very much involved with the Warriors rotations every night the rest of the year. He is a restricted free agent after this season, which means the Warriors will have an opportunity to match any offer that is made to him, and hopefully no one offers too much money that the Warriors don't want to spend on it, because I would like to see Pat Spencer back on this team next year in a bench role. Really like what he does for this team. Again, the energy that he brings, and it's just a very inspiring story. I think you need guys like that on this team. All right, got a few more minutes here, so let's get to today's injury report, which is brought to you by Boxer & Gerson, Northern California's premier workers' compensation law firm, helping injured workers get their lives back for over 40 years. For more info, visit boxerlaw.com. Warriors, quite the injury report here. Again, Jimmy Butler, out, ACL. LJ Cryer, out, left hamstring. Seth Curry, out, left sciatic nerve irritation. See, there's that sciatica I was telling you about, Cam. It's going around. Steph Curry out with the right patellofemoral pain syndrome, a.k.a. runner's knee. Again, as I mentioned earlier, Steve Kerr did not rule out Steph for Monday night. but again, did not rule him out either. Brandon Pajemski dealing with an illness. He had to leave the game temporarily on Thursday night because of that illness. He is listed as probable. And, of course, Kristaps Porzingis out with a left Achilles tendon injury management. Again, as we mentioned already, will not play Monday against the Grizzlies or Wednesday at home against the Spurs. For the Lakers, Luka Doncic out with a left hamstring strain. Luke Kennard is available. Again, the Lakers just acquired Luke Kennard from the Atlanta Hawks. See, the Warriors aren't the only team doing deals with the Hawks at the trade deadline. He potentially might be available if the trade has gone through. That is your Lakers injury report. Again, Warriors Live, presented by Xfinity, your home court advantage. Brought to you by Xfinity. Watch all your favorite teams all in one place. Xfinity, imagine that. We got a couple minutes here before we hand things over to the great Tim Roy. A little rumor popped up on the rumor mill this morning for the Warriors. Jake Fisher of Yahoo Sports reporting that the Warriors are interested in Alonzo Ball on the buyout market. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about that in our post-game show, whether or not Lonzo would fit for this team or not. Could be an interesting option there. Alonzo obviously good at moving the ball around the court. Not great at a whole lot else right now at this stage in his career. Again, injuries crippling a lot of his career, but we'll keep an eye on that one and see if, Warriors actually do jump in on the buyout market there for the stretch run. All right, let's wrap it up here with our Take It to the Bank prediction. It is time to take it to the bank. Brought to you by Fremont Bank. Here for you, here for good. The prediction tonight, I'm going to go with the Stay Hot Pat Spencer prediction. He has not had 3 straight games of double-digit points since his I Am That MF run in December, where he had 5 such games in a row. He's had 2 games of double-digit scoring in his last 2 games played. Tonight, my prediction, he gets double points for the 3rd game in a row for the 2nd time this season. So that is going to be my Take It to the Bank prediction for tonight's game. Warriors-Lakers coming up next. Going to turn over to the great Tim Roy. He will bring you the rest of the way before tip-off at 5:30. After the game ends, we'll do a little, the Warriors side will do a little of a post-game show with R.C. Davis. Turn it over to me, and I will close it out for an hour or so, and we will wrap things up on Warriors Wrap-Up. So with that being said, that will be the end of Warriors Live, and we will kick it over to Tim Roy right about now.
Ready for your next adventure? Welcome to San Francisco International Airport, your getaway to the world. With over 130 nonstop destinations worldwide, SFO offers seamless travel experiences, stunning art installations, and delicious dining options. Whether you're flying for business or pleasure, our state-of-the-art facilities make your journey smoother than ever.